Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hawkeye session. This is January 20th, and this is a Wednesday morning. We're going to be going from 7:30 till 9. And trading foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in the foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during this live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose. And before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies the rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And with that, we will go to the charts. We have a couple alerts. We've got alerts all over the place, actually. Right now, we actually, for those of you who are familiar with the AIRIS, we got Christine over here.
Yeah, I was just going to let you know.
Yeah, there she goes. Uh, the AIRIS alerts have started back up again. It looks like I'm not sure why, if it was part of the programmer's plan or if it was just a fluke or what happened. But we didn't receive any AIRIS alerts from December 22nd till just this past Sunday night, I think is when it started up again. There may have been something in the program where it says we just don't trade the last 2 weeks of December, the first 2 weeks of January. It could have been something that simple. But anyway, we're starting to get alerts again. So we'll start looking at that a little bit, but we're also looking at the AIRO. So we have basically, there's two manual trading systems that we're looking at. We have the AIRIS, which I think we're finding out that not that many people are using that because the AIRO has been working so well. But we're going to address both of them as time allows and as the alerts come through. The AIRO alerts, which is a newer one that we have, they seem to be coming through a little bit faster, so a little bit more frequently. So we'll address all of them as we see fit. And Eva, did you get my message about the trade notification push notification?
No, I didn't. Was it on Telegram?
Yeah, put it on your Telegram, but we'll address that this morning too. I got mine working.
Oh, good.
For anybody that's been having problems getting their push notifications working to get the AIRO alerts, I found the fix to that. So we'll address that once we get started here.
Okay, awesome.
So let me go to the charts. And let me see. And just put your questions and answers in the question. Well, you can put either way. You put it in the chat box, put it in the question and answer box. And we'll try and catch from both areas. I get my chat box up here. And let's take a look at the, let's see, there's an alert at, about 5 minutes ago, it looks like.
Yeah, Kiwi US short, right?
Kiwi US, I've got one also with the US CAD at the same time. But let's take a look at the Kiwi US. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
Morning, Matt. We can't see your chart, Al. If you have a chart up.
Yeah, I just got it fired up here. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, let's go looking for the Kiwi US.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, Kiwi US. Oh, it looks like it's short. Looks like it's going to go right into the green zone. Doesn't look like there's enough room. Just as I can just look at it, just right off the bat, I can see that this isn't going to work. It's a down arrow. Looks like right now we've got two green zones, one red zone above. It's only about 2 pips away from the target. Let's zoom in and see if it's the direction It looks like we have two strong green and one red on top. So it looks like it's still want to be looking more going long on this one.
That looks like a strong
But as you
bottom.
well, now here, but this is interesting because now as I zoom in, we have 3 red zones, 2 green zones. Looks like the push is now to the downside. So, but we really can't take this trade because there just isn't enough room till we get to this strong. This like there's 2 levels of green right here, and if I were to try and get to the second level, as I zoom into it, I don't see even if you went through the whole from where the alert was, which is pretty much right here. 20 pips is going to put you right down, pretty much right at the top of the second level. It's going to have to get through this whole zone here first before you can be able to get your 20 pips out. It's just, I'm going to pass on this trade. We have a US CAD. And if you see anything, if you have a different opinion about any of these things that we talk about, just feel free to jump in.
Will do.
I am not the, so I'm still learning how to use this myself. Now this one is actually looking pretty good. This was a US CAD buy, but we do have 2 zones there. Let's zoom in again, and we'll see what it looks like. Looks like it's more red up top and 1 green down below. Here's a little weaker zone that just happened as we came in. This would be a contra trend trade. And what I would be looking with this one, I would be looking this one a little bit more, a little differently. Now we were talking pretty much the strategies that we're using. We were just using just the one strategy, and that was the have the direction. So in this case, you'd want to be taking only down arrows because you've got more red above than the green. You would want to have a down arrow with 20 pips to the next zone. This one right now is going contra trend up to the towards the red zone. You've got an up arrow, so that immediately from the basic strategy that we have, this would be a no-go. Now, one thing that we could be looking at with this one possibly would be possibly a retracement, a Fibonacci retracement. This is one of the strategies that I would start working with a little bit more. And where that one would be is that you have a zone where you have you have the direction, you have a strong move down, you have a pullback. The pullback has to cross over the blue line. Once you get the cross over the blue line, you can draw your Fibonacci zones and see where the pullback is. So right now, this thing's pulling back up to right now from, actually, we want to take it from this candle here. I got too high here. So this is the strong down move. This is the range. It's pulling back crossing over the blue line. That qualifies this for a possible retracement, as you still, because you want to be taking it as it pulls back up, you want to be taking it so that it comes down and see if you can get 20 pips down to this zone. So from where it is right now, this is a 50% retracement. It came down here. Right now it's retraced back 50% of this whole range here. You can see that it's got 50% right here. And it's still, we still have a green arrow. We're going to be looking for it to see how far back. It may go 50, it may go 60, it may go 79. We don't know how far it's going to go back, but we're looking for like a double top or a doji or some sort of a reversal pattern of the candles. And then once we get that, then we can take it on the next trade down, use the next line for a stop. So we're going to keep an eye on this one and just see if this one will fit any pattern. Now, right now it came right on up, has a little bit of a wick here. You can see right now the price is actually coming down. Even though this is a green candle, it's still kind of in this uptrend. Excuse me, it's still a green candle, but the candle itself, and then from a normal candlestick pattern, this is a red candle that's developing right now. It came up, it's a small little wick, hit the 50%, coming back down. Then the question would be is if you would have room for a 20 pips to the downside of this. And this one we may just sort of watch and just see how this plays out a little bit. But you'd have, even with this, you still can't take this because you have this zone right here with only 12 pips away. But we'll just sort of watch this one a little bit as time goes on. We'll just keep our eye on that one.
It could be a good demo trade, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. I would like to have caught it. Well, we'll have to wait and see how this. Candle closes. Where's my cursor? How this candle closes out, and we'll see what. And this is the U.S. CAD. And let me put that on our other charts. As we know, one thing that as we did in this room, and we've been doing in this room, is trying to chart out some of these things and just see, put these trades a little bit more under a little bit more of a microscope to see how valid the trade would be based on what we've learned with technical analysis. And let's see here. Let me move this. Keep an eye on our other alerts. And so this is the US CAD is what we're looking at here. Let me draw it, get it on my chart here. Yeah, right now I think I don't see this as being. We'll have to see if this thing is going to pull back a little bit more. I don't think it's quite done pulling back yet. It could be, but.
My question to you, Al, is you put your Fibbo where you placed it. Why didn't you go up to the previous high or the previous higher high that's in yesterday's money zone?
Well, the best reason I can give you is that when I was going through the strategies that Nathan had, it looks like it was the highest one that left the zone. I don't think he took it all the way up to. I think he took it up to this one. Is where I think he took it.
Yeah, I was watching that one yesterday as well, and
Is that what you determined with that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Why we are watching this? Let me ask the group here. Does everybody have their push notifications working with the arrow charts?
No.
If you do, other than
me.
Other than Eva, does everybody raise your hand if you are getting push notifications? They'll help me decide who all. It seems like nobody's getting them. Okay. I found out what was the problem that I found out, fixed my problem. First off, if you right click on your chart and you go to your indicator list and then open up the indicator list, and you should see arrow 2. And I talked to Nathan yesterday, and basically they're only using arrow 2, not arrow 2 and arrow, just arrow 2. There is a version 3 coming out this weekend, which should address all those, and arrow 2 are going to be going away. And you're probably going to have to reload your charts this weekend with the version 3. Version 3 is going to fix whatever problem that we had there. But if you go to the arrow version 2, this is all you should have on your charts. So that's what they seem to be using. And you click on the edit. Make that blue, come over, click on the edit. The first thing is you want to make sure is that when you go to your comment tab, make sure this up here it says allow DLL imports and allow external export inputs. Make sure those two are checked. If they're not checked,
allow modification of signal settings. Does that
you don't need that one, just the top two.
Because I do have the other two checked.
Okay, you do. Okay, so that's a good thing. And on the other part, on the inputs, make sure that this says push notification. Make sure that says true, and that should be the default. So that I didn't have to change that. And then you click OK, and then then what I do is I just save this template, and so I'll go right click, template, and I'll just save the template, and then just give it. Then you'll give it a name, and let's see where to go. Oh, there it goes. Save the template. Then this box will pop up. You'll click OK. Seems to be running a tad bit on the slower side today. And then just go and just give it a name, click save, and that way you'll save that template. And then you can just load that in all your charts. The other thing I found out, which I think was probably the more important aspect, was make sure the DLL input is there because it won't get it. But the other part is that on your VPS, just like on your desktop computer, there's a update, a Windows update. Let me see if I can find that. If I go to,
Should be on your desktop there.
let me see. I need to
Minimize them all.
I gotta minimize them all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Keep on going. Keep on going.
is that gonna minimize?
No, left a little bit. That one.
Well, here we go. I think I
Click
moved
on
it over.
right beside where you were just clicking.
Yeah, actually, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get to this little screen, the back.
Exactly.
Right here, it says Windows Updates. What you do is you click on this and update. I found that it took me almost an hour for this thing to update. So you're gonna have to give us some time. I think it was a half an hour. I clicked it and it took a long time before it updated. But once that all got updated to the new, and this thing wasn't updated since I think last October. And I think what happens is the list updates. But once I updated that, then everything started working again. So I think that's going to be I think that was probably the main thing. Make sure the DLL imports was checked because it didn't automatically default to that. Then update your VPS with the Windows updates, and that should fix the problem.
Yeah, I'm going to do that later on today.
Yeah, it's not something I would do right now, but that's what fixed the problem for me.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Yep. And so
Yeah, that's just great, Al. Good job.
This is Gearbox. It's still chugging away, making some trades.
How's your performance on Gearbox thus far?
No, it's right now it's closed out about 10% worth. It's got about 9% open trades. So, but it just keeps on chugging away. Let me get back up to this one.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Al,
so
yes. Quick, I just wanted to mention to you yesterday afternoon, well, it was later on in the afternoon, when we were talking about all the trades that I had taken with Arrow, in particular after our session. Some started during our session, some afterwards. Do you know that every one of them closed out for profit? I've got one last one here that's like 4 pips away from shutting down.
Perfect.
Really?
Yeah. Overnight, I woke up to it. They were all closed down.
Yeah, sometimes we just have to be patient, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about that. Because I started with a $1,000 demo account trying out the Arrow. I went down to $800. I'm up to $950 right now, and I'm poised to surpass the 1,000 as soon as this one shuts down. So that's
solid.
So it just goes to show you that the strategy, as long as you're using it according to how it's supposed to be used and the rules, it does work.
Excuse me, Al?
Yes, that's Christine.
Not to call out Leslie, but I know by saying that I just did. But
thanks, Christine.
That was good. Hey, Leslie, I haven't had all my coffee yet, so if we can just make sure that we do some AIRIS because she doesn't have Arrow yet. So
okay, all right. Let's.
For anyone else in the room.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, there was an AIRIS. There was an AIRIS alert at 6:15. Well, and I got to find out which one that was here. Oh,
she doesn't have AIRIS anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I checked yesterday, and I don't think anybody in the room yesterday still had AIRIS. So
I think she's better off with Arrow.
But I do think that we're going to, but we can still use some of those alerts for some technical analysis as we go along here. Right now, there aren't any trades that I have that, let's see, I want to get this one opened up here in the corner. Get it up in my Let's make that small. Let's see where I can get it. There we go. And so we'll just wait for the next one, and let's just see what that, it was a New Zealand USD. Let's just take a look at that one and just see if there's anything that we can do with it, or just to, as we sit, part of the thing is our room is still to teach technical analysis, but we're going to do it well. We want to be very careful to not recreate the wheel with ARO. We want to make sure we stay within the rules and technicals. But we're still teaching the technical analysis in this room, which I think is still a very vital point of your knowledge base in trading. So let's go with the New Zealand USD. And again, if anybody has any questions, just type them in the chat or the question answer box, and we'll address those as best we can. There is, let's see, let me pull that New Zealand USD up. NZD USD.
Hey, there's our friend in the background.
I know, I just muted myself.
No, you're fine. I don't mind.
He's all the way downstairs. Can you believe that? I can't believe you guys can hear him. I'm up on the top floor and he's down on the main floor. He's a loud boy. And people
Sounds
are still
hungry.
sleeping.
I can't seem to find the NZD USD on my chart here.
I'm going to close out and Al or Matt can let me back in because I can't get my screen on another monitor where I want it. So
Okay, we'll look for you.
just taking a moment.
There he goes. There, now I get it. Okay, let me switch gears here, and we'll just take a look at this NZD USD trade. Remember, today is the inauguration of our new president. I don't know what that means for our markets today, but it may be something to at least keep in the back of your mind as we progress on today. Okay, so we had an NZD USD, and it was a descending wedge. Go to our 15-minute chart. And that was at 6:30 this morning, 6:15 this morning. And it looks to me like I'm looking at where the overnight high, the overnight low is. I'm going to draw my box around it. That's usually my starting point for most of the time. It was a descending wedge, so we have a nice sloping slope down. So here's a low, here's a high, here's a higher low, here's a lower high. And it looks like it probably broke out of this range right in here. So here's the low. There's our high. Here's the higher low before the alert. Here came back up. Here is the alert right here. Move that over. Here's our descending wedge. It came down. It broke. It's breaking out of the bottom. But you see, part of the thing that would keep me from taking this trade is it's bouncing right off of our 30-minute 62 moving average. And right now, this looks like it's dropping. Looks like it's basing right here. If it breaks through the bottom of this, we would be looking at the target area of the bottom of the overnight low. And that would be, how many pips that would be if we got a break there? That would be 12 pips. And there again, it probably would not be enough for me to want to take that trade. You can maybe get a few pips out of it, but I would expect to start seeing some sort of a bounce off of this area. And New Zealand US dollar. And if we were to look at the overall direction, if I switch gears to the arrow, to give you some idea of how sometimes you can compare some of these together. If I switch to the New Zealand US dollar, you can see that this is pretty much, you have more green than you do red. As I scroll in, or zoom out rather, I should say. As you zoom,
The
well,
opposite.
as you zoom out, it's actually just the opposite right now. Yeah, that's something that you have to be careful of too. Is you make sure you zoom all the way out as best you can to really get to see what the big picture is, because a lot of times you won't see that upper zone on as you zoom in. Right now, there's 3 red on top, 2 red on the bottom, or 2 green on the bottom. But you can see it's sort of going right here. It's been basing over the last 1, 2, 3 days. It's been staying inside this range right in here. So again, you wouldn't want to be taking it right now. This would be something to just sort of stay away from right now. So that would be one reason I wouldn't take that trade with the AIRIS alert. And I would, for the same reason, I wouldn't want to take it with this one either, because it's taking a down arrow right into a green zone. As I scroll out a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. And you can see where it just came right down to the, well, this was the overnight low right here. And you have another, yesterday's low was all the way here. And if you draw a trend line, and you have, I actually kind of like this one a little bit better here. Let's try and adjust this to where you can catch as many wicks as you can without going through any bodies. And this one, you got some wicks right here. This is where the first strong move came back up, retested it, bounced, eventually gave us, it really didn't give us an up arrow until it got out of this zone, which was interesting. And now it's coming back down to retest the trend line, retest this zone. This is where this arrow was launched off of this move here. And it's just pretty much just coming in to retest this. So you could actually almost draw another trend line from a technical standpoint. This helps to give you some ideas to why you should or should not take certain trades. I kind of like this. We have a bounce off this trend line, came back, couldn't really close much below it, or just barely close below it. That's a good reason why you may want to, that in itself is enough not to want to take a trade, other than the fact the basic rules is you need 20 pips and you don't have that. But that helps to confirm what the strategy says. Just a little added information. And we'll go back, put this one back to bed, and we'll see if there's anything else that pops up. Any questions, any comments, anything anybody would like to go over, any pairs that anybody would like to see? Just go ahead and tap it in the chat box and we'll see what we can do. If not, we'll just sit back quietly and wait for the next trade.
So Al, on your charts now, are you using only Arrow version 2, or do you have both of them on like you had previously?
Only Arrow version 2. I telegrammed Nathan yesterday, and I asked him the specific question if he's using Arrow and Arrow 2, because I noticed that when Dante was doing his session yesterday, they only had version 2 on.
Yeah.
Now what you sacrifice, you don't get the you don't get that little verbiage on the side where it's a weak zone or if it's how many times it was retested. But I also saw that by having them overlaid, we were getting zones that they weren't getting. I'm not sure, and I'm not so sure that was a good thing or a bad thing. We were showing the weak zones. They weren't showing zones there at all. So
interesting.
So I don't know if I think version 2 may have had a little different algorithm perhaps than the Arrow. And so when you start putting them both together, then you start getting different answers, different pictures. So I thought that's why I decided I need to ask Nathan about that. He just says that version 3 is coming out this weekend, and the first version, which is the Arrow, and then the Arrow V2 will be gone, and it's only going to be Arrow version 3, which should basically address all those things.
Good stuff.
And so what I would suggest everybody do, when the fact that your charts are going to probably have the Arrow 2 version 2 on it, what I would just do is pull up an empty chart, load the new version on, make a template, and then just load that template onto all your other charts. And that way it'll be a pretty easy fix to the situation. And we got a CAD yen sell. Let's take a look at that one.
Oh, that's a fun pair, Al.
Yeah, we're seeing my Arrow charts, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I had to make sure I have the right monitor on here. CAD yen. CAD yen? That's, yeah, CAD yen. So that's right here.
Before Arrow, I would have never touched that currency pair.
Oh, so here we go. Here's the CAD yen pair. I'm going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go to my object list. I'm going to find my open trade tab here. I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to put it right there where the arrow said to sell. It's at 81.67. So I'm going to put 81.67 in the box here. And then I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to put my line. That's where the alert was. That's my starting point. That way I don't have to kind of guess. The alert told me where it was. Now it's a down arrow. I'm going to be looking, and I'm going to scroll, I'll zoom out, see how many green bars I have, how many red bars I have. And that's as far as it goes. I've got 3 green on the bottom. I've got 2 red on the top. That means I'm in an uptrend, which means I'm looking for only up arrows. That right there, that sort of eliminates it, just that by itself. If you were brave and you want to do a contra trend trade, you can take it and you can measure with your crosshairs, come over here, put it up on the line where that we don't have to really guess, just put it right on top, left click, drag it down to the bottom, and he says, oh, I got 7 pips, still not enough room to take the trade. It's a no-go. Move on to the next one. And that's how fast you can analyze these things. And we go and turn it off and wait for the next one.
There's no emotion in that analysis, right? There's no bias. There's no
guesswork. It's either there or it's not. Now, one thing I want to say is that the rules, we have the rules of the strategies, and the rules say 20 pips target, 40 pips stop. That doesn't mean that and this is subject to what you're comfortable with. If you draw it out and it says 19 pips to your target zone, and that doesn't say you can't take that trade and go for 19 pips or even see if you can get even more than that. Also, if it says it's got 30 pips to the target, that doesn't mean you have to wait for 30 pips before you get out of the trade. You can take your profit at 15 or 18 pips. Keep in mind that when you take these trades, you have to be able to plan for the spread. So if that candle is just coming right down to where your target is, and it seems to be it's going to need to get past your target by the spread in order to get that target filled. So if it sits there and just starts bouncing right at your target, I personally have no problem at all just taking the trade off and say thank you for the trade, because I would much rather give up a half a pip of profit so it doesn't retrace back to where I entered the trade. I don't believe in paying that much emotional inventory. There's a cost to the emotions that you have with your trades. I have no problem at all taking profits a little bit early. I may leave some on the table, but I don't have to be what I call paying emotional inventory to try and get that extra pip out and to watch it go against me and then get frustrated that I didn't take the profits. But that's something you personally have to decide for yourself what you're comfortable with. Or you might just say, no, the rules say 20 pips. I'm just going to go for 20 pips. If I don't get it, then I'm going to be willing to take that 40 pip stop out. And that's something you have to decide for yourself. Those are the guidelines. I would like to think it'd be prudent to stay within those guidelines to a plus or minus probability factor, but that's something you need to decide. And here is a gold trade.
Al.
Let's
I
we'll
got
take a look
US
at it.
Swiss. Did
Let's
you
take
have
a
it?
look at it.
Excuse me, Al.
Yes.
When you get a chance, Sim had asked in the chat if you could please do the US Swiss.
US Swiss. Do you want the technical analysis or just the arrow charts?
Did not specify.
Okay.
It's,
Well, we can maybe do both. Ooh, look at this.
Yeah, there is a US Swiss alert.
Oh, there is. Oh, yeah, there is. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Okay. Well, I'll tell you this one. Let me just take a real quick look at this one. This one's already coming down. It's already pretty much hit the target. We'll avoid that one for right now. We can come back and take a look at it, but let's go to the US Swiss. And thank you for asking the question. I appreciate the input from the peanut gallery here. Okay, so we have US Swiss. We have an up arrow, and we're going to, that was at 89.05. I'm going to go to my objects list. I'm going to come up to my open trades, going to edit that. So I'm going to put 89.05, 89.05, put that into my target. Oops, did I do that right? 89.89. Oh, I forgot the decimal point. 0.89053. 053. There we go. Take a look at that. That's where the entry was. And we're going to be looking to see, do we have 20 pips to the upside? I just look at this and see there's only two pips. 89.12. We only have 7 pips. We don't have our 20 pips. That's going to be way up there. Let's zoom out, see how many up arrows we have, how many zones we have. A lot of green on the bottom, but we have this zone right here on the top. It's a little bit late. If we had gotten into on this arrow, we probably would have had a better shot at it. We'll zoom out. This would have been the better arrow to have gotten in on that. And that was at, let's see if that was, somehow that was probably before we got started here. US Swiss. Let's see where that arrow was.
I could see us getting an alert for it to go down, but we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah.
I'm
US.
not a fan of that one there.
Yeah, there was one about 6 o'clock, the US Swiss. I think, was it US? Trying to see where that, I'm trying to see where this arrow was. Well, let's just spread it out and see.
Kind of curious to watch this one because Nathan does say if it's a double arrow on like going up like this, for example, that it shows that it's going to be a continuation of the trend. So it'd be interesting to watch it to see if it's what.
Yeah, he does have a double arrow strategy.
Not so sure I'd be willing to get into the trade.
Yeah,
But
I'm thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, Eva, the double arrow strategies talks about the double arrow before it gets to the money zone.
well, he just kind of talks about the double arrow period.
Okay.
Is that he does talk about, I know which one you're talking about too, like trading with the trend, but he just says that the double arrow indicates that it's a continuation and that it will continue to go, in this case, long. So he doesn't really give an indication of how long. But with this being in the way, this big red zone, I'd be very reluctant at this moment to take it.
Like...
The only thing that in my eyes is a savings grace is that it's right on the very edge of the zone where it's, kind of straddling the zone and the black space, if you will. But even at that, I wouldn't be willing to take it.
If we get another alert for a short though, once it hits the zone, that would be beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm looking for. That would be an awesome trade. So
actually, this one might be qualified for one of those. He's got another strategy where he talks about a zone breakout a money zone breakout from the previous day zone, which would be this one over here. We're not going to go into a lot of these, but these are some things that, again, when you go through those strategies and start reading up on them, so that way when we do start addressing them in here, you may have know that these are some of the strategies that are out there. I'm not teaching them right now, but they are some of the strategies that he does have. I'm just sort of bringing them to your attention about how you may be able to spot some of these.
Yeah. And
89
another thing I'm
cents.
noticing as well is how high above the moving average it is. For it to be an arrow down, I don't think that's going to happen until that moving average gets closer.
Right. Yeah, exactly. This thing's got to come on up and get the arrow to come down because it still needs to cross the moving average before.
Oh,
So
that's true.
even
Yes.
if you get
Okay.
even if you
Right.
get a bounce arrow go, it still has to close. It still has to get down below this moving average. That's one reason this one worked out so well because it came back basically. It didn't exactly bounce, but it came close to bouncing. Came back up, crossed over the moving average in the right direction, gave you the arrow. And then this would have been a nice little trade, but this was at, let's see, what time was this in the morning? This one was at
Like 3 or 4
at
a.m.
the open of 11:15 minus 7, so that'd be about 4:15 this morning. That's where this one developed, and then, but then you have to be trading into this London session, and then you have been in right here. You've been had up to come up. You said, "There's my 20 pips," and whoever got into this trade here, they're just about to get their target. In fact, they probably did get their target. They just got their target just now if they got into this trade.
See, that would have been the overnight session thing.
Exactly.
You would it not have been?
Yeah, it would have been the overnight session.
Sometimes I wonder if it isn't worth getting up at 3 a.m.
Well,
Oh boy.
I often wonder about that myself too, but it's hard to get up, stay up, do that 1 to 3 o'clock and then be here for 7:30 in the morning. So that's another,
Yeah.
that creates a whole nother issue for me anyway.
You have to go to bed at 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just getting dinner. Let's see, 79. Let's go with 0.8879. Let's see where this one takes us here. There you go. That's, and let's see. So if I'm looking at this, seeing what the overnight session presented for us last night. Let me just move this thing up 20 pips here. So 90.05, so it's, 25 would be where the target of this one would be. And you can see, like I said, you have that red zone right there in the middle of it. It'd be right about where if you were to take this trade, you'd have to get all the way through all this red area before you get to your target. And that's not saying it's not going to work, but doesn't fit the basic rules. Let's go back and take a look at that gold again. I mean, that one was kind of interesting to me.
Actually, that was a total dive.
Yeah, it looks like it. By the time we got the alert, it was already at the target. Let's see. Yeah, it's gold at 1837. Oh, my thing's starting to get slow again. There we go.
See, look at that. I'm not sure about that guy yet.
Well, it does have. Let's take a look at the technicals on this one. This is U.S. Swiss. Let me go back to our trading view charts. I'm going to show you what this was, where that AIRIS alert. See how it hasn't done anything. It's been what, half an hour since we talked about this, or 50 minutes. It's been about a half hour since we talked about this, and look, it hasn't really done a thing in the last No, 1, 2, 3, about last hour and a half, it hasn't come out of this zone. It's bouncing off of this moving average. And so we're looking at the US. Let's take a look at the US Swiss for technicals. 15-minute chart. Let's blow it up, see where we are with so right now, this is the alert came in at 3 candles ago. This candle right here is where the alert came in. And so basically the alert, the trade would have been triggered. The trade that we didn't take for the rule reason would have been right there. That would have been where we get now I'm looking over here to the left from the overnight yesterday's range. Right now this thing is right at the top of yesterday's range. And so if I pull it out a little bit further, go to this is the whole range of yesterday. We're right at the top. We would have to have a breakout of this. And if we break out of this, we still have this little wick to break into. We have still this little area. This is kind of like the double top. This is where the strong move came up. Here's our double top. This would be if it does break yesterday's range, this is going to be where the target's going to be. Now the question is, how much room do you have from where this entry was to up here? It might have 20 pips on this one, Eva. 17 pips. You have 18 pips. So, but you have to get through this. You have to get through that wick. This is the origin of this down move. Came down here, came back up, rejected it, came back up, rejected it. But now we're getting just about to the top where I think it was prudent not to take that trade because
Yeah.
you're gonna have to get through this little area right in here. And we make this a supply zone. And we would make this our demand zone. We have came down here. Here was the low, came back up, retested the low over here, got some wicks, couldn't make a new low, and then it starts taking straight on up. And now it's going to be retest. So right now the zone that's ranging is from here to the bottom here, which is so what I would be looking at from a technical standpoint. I'm looking at this as our demand zone. This is our supply zone. And I'd be more apt to try and tell now, I'd say since this was yesterday's range, if it breaks the high here, then it could be going up even higher still. But if you look back and see, go back several hours or several days, where did this is the last zone that we've had. This was from way back. We can actually take this over here.
Yes.
And you can see that this area has been the area that hasn't been tested. Strong move down, came back up. It hasn't reached this area yet, which makes me think they still have a lot of momentum down. This is just a retrace, and it hasn't broken through this area. Came back down, tested it, went lower, came back up, and it could come back down, go lower again still. And again, that's a good reason. And this is from all the way back in the middle of December. So from a technical standpoint, I'd say the rules on the arrow hold is that you don't have the 20 pips, you don't take the trade. And this helps to confirm that. To me, that helps to confirm that rule in this particular case. And you can see it came right up here. As you can see this on this 1 hour, on this 1 hour candle, you got a nice came up. This could give us a little shooting star type of candle where you have a strong wick up, low body, and it could start to come down to now, and then it could start coming down to retest this area.
Question for you, Al. What time is the inauguration today?
They change hands at noon.
At noon.
So there's, yeah, so I'm guessing this will probably the swearing in ceremony be somewhere between 11 and 12 o'clock.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah, so
what things do.
and once he takes the oath of office, there's going to be a whole stack of executive orders that he's going to sign right when he gets done.
Yeah, just wondering, because I know the US dollar surged up this morning. That's why that gold was tanking the way it did. But
Yep.
now it seems to be kind of calming down again. So I'm just wondering if we can expect another surge and at what time.
Yeah, that's well, when it becomes official, I mean, unless something happens between now and noon, I think he's going to be our president.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's kind of a done deal. So, but anyway, this helps to confirm. And I think this is also a good thing is that if the arrow alerts are real obvious where it says, yeah, this is like a no-brainer, that, yeah, we have the 20 pips, go for it, then just go and jump in. But it doesn't hurt to come back and do the charting on it to see, is my target really valid, or is there going to be some other area where I'm probably going to get a bounce? This 62 moving average, this 30-minute 62 moving average, is a really strong area where you're going to get some sort of reaction to it. And so if you say, oh, I've got 20 pips to the downside to my target, and you've got this thing sitting right in the middle, you could probably expect the fact that, yeah, you may be able to get 10 pips, but if it's right in the way of where your target is, you may expect to have a little bounce. You may expect to take a little bit of heat will come here, or you just say, I'm going to go back here, I'm going to take my profits. If it comes back again, maybe I'll take another shot at it. But the rules are, if you have it to the zone, you're great. But also, it doesn't hurt to look at the technicals to see what's lurking inside the range that could cause you some problems to where you may not get your entry. And right now, this candle right here, this would be where the buy was. Now, if you get a pullback, if it pulls back and bounces off of here, and you still have an up arrow, and you have 20 pips to the upside, if you're in the right direction, which one did we decide that was a what direction did we say this was? This was it was, yeah, okay. So it does have a lot of green on the bottom. So we are looking for an up arrow, but we need to have a zone that you can arrange. So what I'd be looking at in this case, I'd be looking at, here's my target. The zone on this one was, let's see where the zone was. Let me pull this down, and the zone was right around the 89.13 area. So we draw a line at 89.13. 89.13, which was right about there, which is the zone was developed right off of this little wick here. This is where the target was. Here's where the entry was. Well, if we can get an entry, if it can come back, maybe retest this moving average, we do have some crosses. We do have some consolidation here. If we can go from here to 20 pips down, and let's say we get where it pulls back to the 1 hour 62 moving average. If we can get it to pull back to get an entry to go a bounce off of here to get a retest for that target, now you might have a trade. You're in the right direction, but taking it up here, not enough room. If it pulls back to here and gives you another bounce, you may get another shot there. You may get another arrow or another shot at getting that target. Does that all make sense? Am I overwhelming anybody right now? If you feel like you're lost right now, raise your hand. I'm gonna see how many people did I just put into the overload mode.
Okay. If you understand, raise your hand.
Yeah, if you understand what I've just said, raise your hand. If I didn't lose you, raise your hand. All right, we got
Got one hand up.
one hand up.
The rest are undecided.
This is where the interaction of this thing comes into play here, guys. I need some feedback so I know if I'm overwhelming people or not.
My hand is up.
You don't count, Christine. You're one of us.
No, I just want to make sure that it wasn't,
I'm kidding.
I don't feel the click, so crazy me.
If you've been in this room for a while, you probably are getting a pretty good grasp. You can't expect to understand all this stuff the first time you come in, but the more you hear the terminology, the more you see what we're talking about, the more it starts making sense, the more you start absorbing. As I say, usually if you get a lecture, you probably only, the first time through, you probably only understand or grasp maybe 10% of it, but you go through the second time, you get another 10 or 20%. And then as you spend more and more time at it, things start making more sense. And that's just part of the knowledge base. Okay, let's go back to the charts. Then we'll start listening to some more music again until we get another alert coming through. Change my charts and wait for the next arrow alert to come through.
Where's your music today, Al? No music today?
Self here. There we go. I'll unmute myself. Let me see. Well, I thought I had it running. Let's see. Maybe it's just too low. How's that volume?
Not, we can barely hear it. Well, I can barely hear it.
Tell me when.
I can hear it now. I can hear it now.
Is that good?
Yeah.
A little, I think it's a little too high, but.
A little too high? Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I need to know. I need to know that.
Just one down.
How about that one?
I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, British Cat.
There we go. That's all it needed was music to bring it
That's
out.
all we needed was to take the time adjusting the music. Okay, let's go take a look at British Cat here.
We got a Euro Swiss.
See if we can get a trade coming in here. And we have British CAD, so we're going to put that chart up.
I'll have a quick look at the Euro Swiss.
Okay. I'll do British CAD, you do Euro Swiss.
And there's the Euro Yen as well that came through.
There you go, Matt. You got Euro Yen.
UJ.
Let me see. I got I got 4 alerts. What's going on here?
Oh, you probably still have, are they doubles? Are they duplicates?
No, they're not. I got Kiwi CAD, Aussie CAD, Kiwi Yen, and CAD Yen.
Oh, it's probably
Actually-
because you don't have those charts on.
Actually, I said British CAD. Really, it's New Zealand yen. We got New Zealand yen, CAD yen, and Aussie CAD is what I'm seeing. How about you?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll
I'm
take the
seeing
I'll
that
take the
too. I
top.
was
I'll
looking at
take
your
the,
chart.
yeah. I got the wrong pair here. Okay, I'm taking New Zealand yen. You take CAD yen, and
I'll take the Aussie CAD.
you take
How's
Aussie
that?
CAD. There we go. I got New Zealand yen.
Okay. So
Okay.
I'll take
That's
CAD
better.
again.
We'll,
All right.
we'll
All
meet,
right.
we'll
We'll
meet you. We'll
figure
meet
this
you.
out.
We'll meet you around the corner.
Yeah.
New Zealand. New Zealand yen. New Zealand yen. Here we
So
go.
CAD yen's going right into a red zone. And
Okay, Aussie CAD's looking good.
New Zealand yen's looking good so far. Let me see.
why did I get the dud?
Because you
Got the
came in
short
late.
stick on
Sometimes
that
you're the
one.
Louisville Slugger, sometimes you're the ball.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this one, and we have 20 pips to the upside. I only have 13 pips. No go for me. But I'll mark it. Object list. And I'm going to get my open trade tab. I'm going to edit it. I'm going to mark the say 74.07. 74.07. I'm going to click OK and put the line in there. That's my entry.
I took the Aussie CAD just for information purposes, just so you know.
Took the trade?
I did take the trade.
Oh, let's go take a look at it. Mine was a no-go. Aussie CAD, Aussie CAD. It's over here. Ooh, okay. And we're in the right. We got
Just, yeah.
lots of red above. Yep, lots of red above. Scale out.
And then my 20 pips is just above the green.
And we still have time here. It says here's the
Not much
alert.
time though.
Here's the alert.
20 pips.
And we've got 20 pips to the downside. That's 14.
I got in,
We have a nice deep wick here, so there could be some room for penetration into there. I'll take it. I'm going to take a sell on that one.
I managed to get in at 98.12.
I got a little bit better fill than what the arrow dictated because it had a nice little pullback on that.
Good.
So right now I'm going to put this up. Here's where the arrow was. My fill's above the arrow. I have a down arrow. I got to fill a little bit above it. That's a good thing. And we're going to, with the object list, we have our target is going to be edited. And our target is going to be 20 pips from 98.08. So 98.08.
Did you take it at 98.08 or 98.10?
What's the 98? Let me see here. 98.08, so it'd be 97.88. 97.88. 0.9788. That should be 20 pips.
Wow.
Did I do that right? 88, 98.08. Yep.
I think you did it right. But
Yeah, I think it only had like about 14 pips to the downside here. But so I may just go.
Yeah, mine is at my take profit is at 97.949, so 97.95 basically. I think what it does, you know, when I'm modifying it, you modify it after taking the trade to your 40 and your 20 pips, it takes the spread into consideration. And that's why it gave me my take profit above.
Yeah, let me see. Let me go and put the stop in. I probably won't let it go the full 20 pips. If it goes anywhere near this top of the green, I'll be out of this trade. If I put the 40 pips, So 98.48. So I go 0.9848, which is the 40 pip stop. You see my stop is way up here. So I've got a lot of buffer. I'm not going to let it go all the way up to my stop. If it comes back up, if it comes back up and crosses, and I may let it test this area, but if it goes deep into this area, I'll probably be out of this trade. But right now, everything's still moving in the right direction. And we'll see what I can get out of it. I like this where you have this strong wick over here coming out of the zone, the strong move out. So this is where the buyers are. This will still give us a few pips to get in there. I would probably like to move my target somewhere up a little bit closer to up into where the bodies, so I can keep the bodies, my target, looking at my target will come back out to retest these wicks again. And we'll see.
What I'm finding with these arrow alerts, sometimes you have enough time to deal with it. Other times you got to be pretty quick because it moves so fast. I got in 4 pips before you. In just that short period of time, it had moved. So you got in at 98.08. I got in at 98.12. And that explains why my take profit is right above the green zone.
Okay, so you got a little bit better, Phil. And actually, if you look here and see where we have this trend line, it actually this was actually a break of a wedge right here.
Yeah.
Now, if it comes back up and we have another little upper trend line up here. So the way I would be looking at this thing, I'm not going to let it go full 40 pips, but if it can stay out of this little wedge area, if it can keep on going down from the break, if it comes back up and gives me a close above this wedge line, then I'll probably just get out of it. By that time, you'll have another green arrow. You probably have an up arrow to this area. Let's take a look at the technicals on this Aussie yen. Let me see here. We'll analyze this a little bit deeper. And everybody see my trading view charts?
Yes.
Okay. So here is the yesterday's range.
Demand files, futures. Oh, what am I talking about? Oh my God, I'm so tired.
Here's the yesterday's range right here. Got a little bit of a wick break. It broke out just a little bit up here. We have a trend line from here to here. Let's see how that one fits out. Yesterday's low, the pullback, and we have here's our 30-minute 62 right here at the 108.10 or 80.10. Are we looking at the right chart? Aussie CAD. I'm looking at the wrong chart. Aussie CAD it is.
Oh, I thought you were looking at that specifically.
I clicked on the wrong button. I didn't see it. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. Here's the range. Here's a nice drop. Basing, came back and retested this area. Here's the overnight low. Right here's the overnight low, which is a little bit higher than where it ended up yesterday. See, here's a little wedge coming in right in this area. Here's the overnight low. Here's the overnight high. First pullback, came back and just retested that one. There's our wedge. And we'll see what happens this little area right in here. It's going to need to get through this little area right here. Once it gets through this area, then this will be a good target right down here at the 97, 93 area, which is right about where our target is, I believe. Move my target up just a little bit higher. Here's a high, here's a low, here's the lower high, here's a higher low. We had the break of the wedge coming back up to retest it. And we'll see if it has enough energy to push it back down again. I'll be looking at my stop to be somewhere above in here, which is well below our 40 pip stop. And go 5 pips above that. 35 will go to 98.40 for a stop. Give us some breathing room. Our entry was 98.08. And we had the alert on the second 15-minute candle. So our alert was right over on this candle right here. And we wait and see what happens. We had the break of the wedge, came back down, came up, retested the wedge. Now we'll see if it's going to continue on down. And then we wait for the next trade. Anybody has another pair that they would like to check out and see, just let me know. We can take a look at it.
Guess we didn't get any more alerts. It's the quarter hour.
It's been quite a while. I'm surprised.
Yeah. It's a strange day. I think because of what's going on down in the US, maybe.
Yeah, everyone's. Yeah, I understand why they would be apprehensive to jump into anything, really.
Yeah.
I think bottom line is the institutions they're already working on, they know what positions are going to be taken. They're already working their way into those positions or out of the positions that they want to. But when I see the market going in one direction pretty strong at this time, it's just I just fear they're trying to position themselves.
Yeah.
If they think the market's going to go down, they're going to drive it up. If they think it's going to go up, they're going to drive it down. The institutions need somebody to sell to or to buy from. Yeah, we're just about coming up on the 9 o'clock hour. And we'll probably be getting kicked out of here just any minute now as Dante starts getting ready for his session at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to ask anybody any last questions, comments, and if not, we're going to wrap this thing up today. And I said Dante's going to be over at 9 o'clock in his room. He'll be gone till 12 o'clock. Until then, we'll see everybody tomorrow, same time, 7:30, and we'll see you then.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.